Hello again. Today I am going to talk to you about importing and exporting settings in Dart. We're going to look at Baggett profiles and storage services in particular. The reason you would want to export settings is because it may take you some time to set up and customize your profile, and it may take you more time to set up information about endpoints for where to upload bags. That information includes URLs and credentials and things like that. If you've taken the time to set these up, you can export them and distribute them to other users at your organization. So let's take a look at this BTR Baggett profile that we imported a while ago in a previous video. As you can see, there's quite a bit of information here already set up. And if you have done all this setup, there's no use and no sense in putting another user through that trouble if you can just share this with them. I'm going to look at storage services also. These are currently S3 or SFTP servers to which we can upload bags for ingest into whatever repository we're trying to get these bags into. When you set these up, you have to give each service a name, a protocol, whether it's accessed via the S3 protocol or SFTP. You have to say where the host is, a bucket name or a folder name if it's an SFTP server. You have to put in login and password so that you can connect to those things. Look at an SFTP example. Looks very similar. This one runs on port 8088 of localhost, uses an actual login and password rather than AWS keys. So let's say you've set this up so that you personally can now bag items using that custom BTR Baggett profile, and you can upload them to an S3 server or an SFTP server. You want to share these settings with someone else. You go to Export Settings, and we're going to choose that BTR Import Baggett profile. We want to share that with others in our organization. And we'll choose that AP Trust staging service and local SFTP service. When we export these, actually, take a quick look at the JSON that comes out of this. Our Baggett profile will be in here, and that's a really big piece of data. And our storage services are down here. The AP Trust staging server and the local SFTP server. The export feature does not export sensitive information like logins and passwords. If those pieces of information are coming from the environment and they're set as environment variables, it will export that. In cases like this SFTP server had an actual login and password, it will not export that. The idea is you may want to post these settings on some URL that is accessible to your users. They can import the settings from there. If you do that, you do not want to export or expose sensitive data like logins and passwords. So you can add questions to help users import these settings. In this case, we're giving them information about how to connect to an SFTP server, but we're not including a username or password. If you're an administrator, you might send that information to a user separately and have them enter it themselves. The tricky thing is for them to figure out where to enter that username and password. So import settings export includes questions like this. You can type in what is your SFTP username, and whatever the person importing your data answers in response to that question will go into the login field of the SFTP local test service record. And add another question. It says, what is your SFTP password? And whatever the user types in response to that will go in the password field. Now if I export this, I get this big blob of JSON, which again, you can email to someone, or you can post these at a URL that you can point many users to. I'm going to copy that data to the clipboard, and then we're going to look at this from the user's side who's receiving these settings. They can import settings from a URL if you have posted them at a URL, or if you've just emailed the JSON output to them, they can cut and paste it here. Click import, and it tells us here that it successfully imported this Baggett profile and the AP Trust staging and the SFTP local test service. Now these are the questions that we had asked, so they can fill in their user credentials. And let's say user@example.com, and password is password. I click finish, and remember we set it up so that the responses to these questions would go into this storage service record, SFTP local test service. I finished that. It says Dart imported the settings. Well, let's go look at that SFTP local test service. And sure enough, user@example.com got copied in here, and the password got copied into the password field. Hopefully this helps you set up Dart users in your organization more quickly. Thank you again for watching, and I hope this was helpful.